Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough and this is episode 846. And in today's episode, we're talking about manifestation. Now, before I lose some people because they think, oh, manifestation, that's the weird and wonderful stuff, which it is. I'm also wanting to break things down into the neurology, the brain, the actions of being ultimately aligned. That's what we've got to do. We've got to be aligned with our goals and our dreams, whether it be for the internal or whether it be the external. We want to be able to get the clarity that we need. So on top of that, this came about because someone said, could I do a topic and a hypnosis session on manifestation? So I'd like to take on topics, and it was very closely related to a relationship one. And I thought it'd be a nice idea. So not only are you going to get this conscious aspect, you're also going to get a hypnosis session on the next episode. And those who are part of the app, you're going to get a bonus sleep session for this as well. So I'm trying to over deliver in all the things that we do to be able to help as many people as possible. And if you haven't got the app, go to freehypnosis.app and that will just take you to the relevant place that you need. If not, search my name. But with that, let's get into the manifestation side of things. It was kind of weird and synchronistic in ways because I had a client reach out to me about manifestation. They wanted to be able to get the house and the house that they wanted in a new country, and for it to happen smoothly and effortlessly. And just last week they reached out saying that has absolutely all happened. It was more effortless than imagined, and it was the perfect place. And I'm super excited for the client because that means they get to live in a new country that they really always wanted to be in. So that lifts me up, and I want to be able to kind of break things down on the conscious level and also, of course, the unconscious level. So we'll talk about the unconscious side and the conscious side, but we'll deliver the hypnosis on the next episode and then another episode, like I said, for a bonus sleep one. Now, number one, I always try to think that everything you want to so-called manifest, and actually, we'll bring it back a little bit. Let's just go into why is it important to know this? Because ultimately, we are manifesting lots of different things at different times, whether it be in our physical body or whether it be us seeking out certain situations at an unconscious level. Maybe we've been manifesting and seeking out the narcissist. Maybe we've been manifesting that boss, or the lack of money, the lack of abundance. Ultimately, because your attention has been on the lack of it. It is so easy as humans to be able to go, I don't want this to happen, because we don't want that to happen. I don't want to be more in debt. I don't want another bad relationship. I don't want to fail at work. I don't want to be found out. But the I don't want, and then you fill in whatever that is, that becomes a seed that gets planted in your unconscious mind. And if we start to think about it and place emotion around it, it will start to generate into a belief system, an identity, which then trickles down in your capacity, in your behaviors, and into your environment. So even if we break it down just on that biological unconscious level, if your attention and your focus, your intention, is focused on the negative because of our past experiences, whether it be our past traumas or how we grew up or who we modeled, the chances are your focus is going to be taken over there. And as it's taken over there, you'll have those feelings and you radiate those feelings. And the interesting thing is, the unconscious mind, even if you believe in something greater than ourselves, doesn't really decipher what is good and bad. It just radiates whatever you're thinking and feeling most of the time. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's abundance, whether it's fear, whatever you place your attention on, it's going to look for more of the same. What we think about most, we become, okay? There's so many books out there around that, where it'd be like things like Think and Grow Rich and all these other interesting esoteric side of things, or to more of the biology of the neural networks, of how they become wired through the neuroplasticity into a certain way of thinking. So it doesn't matter if you think about it on the more out there stuff, which I love, or on a biological level, which I also love. We get to learn both sides of the equation. But one of the things which really kind of kicks in is that scarcity and the doubt because of the past situations that we've gone through. If you've had 10 bad relationships, what are you going to expect? You're going to expect another bad one. If you've had a history of debt and fear and scarcity around money, and even beliefs about money is the root cause of all evil, or it doesn't grow on trees, what are you going to accept or expect? You're going to accept a certain narrative, a story, and you're going to expect that narrative and story to keep on coming back over and over again, because we look for that. Like, that's the confirmation that we look for. Good or bad or indifferent, we're still looking for confirmation through our experience. We have that belief, we have that idea of that fear, that scarcity of not being enough, and then our brain, whether we do it consciously or not, or maybe just unconsciously, we look for these little confirmations or big confirmations to go, that's why I'm not enough. That's why I can't achieve and get the dream house or the career or the finance, the relationship, the health, or any area of our life, from the things externally to the internal. So we've got to be very careful, because this is happening at an unconscious level. That's where it's really starting to generate. You are the conscious goal setter, but your unconscious mind is the goal getter, right? It is seeking out the constant thoughts and feelings that you have. And if they are negative, of course, that's where we're shining a light onto. That is what we're radiating most of the time, like a beacon to the world and the universe, whether it be a beacon to the narcissist, whether it be a beacon to poor health or the lack of opportunity. We tend to show more of it up. You've seen it all the time. Like, even if we break it down into the reticular activating system, you think about buying a car, and you kind of, I want this make and that model, and you tend to see that make and model everywhere. You learn a new word, you see it everywhere. It's always been there, but it wasn't important to you. So therefore, your unconscious mind deleted it because it didn't have a certain value of importance. So if we're putting a level of importance on the fear and the scarcity, it's going to have to look for it. So be aware of that. You've got to go, okay, what am I really doing unconsciously that I can become consciously aware to start to dismantle it? To become the watcher of your thoughts, to become awareness of what is really happening, what you're really thinking, rather it just being on autopilot at an unconscious level. That's your job, is to monitor and become consciously aware of what you're putting out there, what you're thinking and feeling. Now, if we go into the topic of, say, manifestation, where it be through biology, by deleting things and looking for more things which are good or bad, depending what our focus is, or in the wonderful, more esoteric way of thinking, or esoteric, we've got to be aware that for every goal and dream that you have, there will be a negative. I'm going to say that again. For every goal and dream that you want to bring into fruition, there is going to be a negative consequence. You might go, well, how is that even possible? I want the thing. Yeah, but if you get the thing, what will be a potential negative consequence? If you won the lottery, right, what is the negative consequence of winning the lottery? Well, people may come out the woodwork wanting money. You may have to pay taxes upon it. You have to now manage it. Like, there can be a lot of stresses from a brand new situation. What about if you want to be a celebrity? Well, you could get stalkers. You could get the same people coming out the woodwork. You could have lots of these social society expectations to be able to be a certain way. You lose your privacy. So think about it. Even if you want a bigger house, you're going to have to pay more money on the upkeep of that space, where it be from air conditioning to heating or to maintenance. The bigger it is, the more you've got to be aware of. So if you are thinking about getting something, I would love you to become consciously aware of what are those downsides. What are the negative consequences of getting that goal and dream? The reason why that is important is they are there beneath the surface. And if they are there beneath the surface unconsciously, your unconscious mind will be sabotaging your progress in getting it because you're out of alignment. You're in misalignment. You really want it, but your unconscious mind is putting on the brakes on, going, but what if this happens? What if that happens? Now, if you do start to become consciously aware of those potential negatives, the consequences, you can start to do something about it. It's not to say that they won't happen still. Like, if you're going to make more money, you will pay more tax most of the time. If you're going to get a relationship, you are going to lose some maybe personal time, right? There's lots of things. So you may as well become consciously aware of it to do one or two things. Number one, try to come up with a solution to it. So if it was the relationship that you're after, and privacy is something that you may miss out on, and unconsciously with scarcity mindset because of that, well, think of ways of how you can still have privacy whilst being, so in other words, maybe independent whilst being in a relationship. What can you do to create that circumstance? If it's about money, well, what can you do to be able to manage that? Like, come up with the ideas of trying to lower it, manage it, or number two, be at peace with it. Be at peace, you're going to have less privacy. Be at peace, you're going to give more money. Like, it's okay. Once you start to rationalize it and go, actually, that's okay, because my goal and dream of what I want to manifest is far bigger than that downside. That 5 downsides is, I can deal with those. And when you get to that place of either mitigating the downside or being just at peace with it, your unconscious mind then gets the go-ahead that you're okay with this. You're okay with doing so, which means it lifts up the brakes and starts to go with you. And that means you are totally, or not totally yet, because we've got more things to cover, you are more congruent at that conscious and unconscious level by being at peace with any potential negatives. For every outcome, for every goal, there's going to be a negative consequence. Even like, for example, say someone who wants to lose weight, what could be a negative consequence? Well, you got to buy new clothes. Something as small as that, despite being like consciously going, yeah, I don't mind that, unconsciously there may be something there that you have to resolve the resistance. But you can only do that once you start to become conscious of all those negative consequences, come up with a solution to be able to solve it, reduce it, or be at peace with it. The other thing is to become aware of that for most things you want is not necessarily what you really want. And that sounds weird because you do really want it. But it's an idea that I like to think about, and like to give you the example, and I've said this one before, when it comes to financial abundance. Yes, you want financial abundance. I get that. But why? Why do you want that financial abundance? Well, That abundance gives you something. It gives you freedom. It gives you maybe security. It gives you opportunity. It gives you maybe legacy. It may give you contribution to charities. It could give you the vacations and the holidays. It could up-level your living environment. So yeah, you want money, but you want what it will give you. Same thing with relationships, and I mentioned that on the relationship one. Think about yes, you want the relationship, but what will that relationship give you and get you? Because that's what you really want. Whether it be intimacy, whether it be sharing, whether it be still abundance, like growing together in abundance. Maybe it is support, maybe it's love, maybe it's all these things and many more. But once you start to become aware of all the things it will give you, notice what feeling that is. What is the feeling behind the outcome? You see, I always like the quote or the sentence that whatever you want, wants you to. Whatever you desire, desires you to. But if we are unconsciously desiring the negative narrative and stories, because we've just been trained through those significant events. And I'm not saying you consciously desire more pain and trauma, but you know what I mean, the programs, the limiting beliefs, the past events, the negative emotions, which get us off track. If you have more attention over there, you're going to get that. So that's why we tend to bring in more of the same. So how do we reverse the process? We go back to that sentence of whatever you desire, desires you too. Well, if you think about your desire and consider what it will really give you, and notice maybe an overriding feeling that it will give you. So it could be a level of peace, it could be a level of abundance, it could be power, whatever it is for you. My job or assignment for you would be to try to feel that way most of the time. So you don't even have to think about the outcome for a while. You are just focusing on the feeling it will give you. When you start to do that in the things you don't have. So let me backtrack on what I mean there. You haven't got your goal and outcome, right? That means a level of scarcity. By nature, right? Like if you haven't got it yet, you haven't got it, so therefore that's a level of scarcity. Well, if you go into the outcome of what you want to manifest and then go into what it will give you and the feelings it will give you, we can then go, well, it's going to give me this feeling, and this feeling. Well, if I can try to find things that I do in my present situation which accompanies those feelings and introduce more of those activities and make it my job to feel those feelings, regardless of the outcome, I'm now letting go of scarcity because I feel the good feelings, whether it comes from movies, whether it comes from music, whether it comes through hobbies, whether it comes from doing certain activities, whether it be through hypnosis. Like whatever that feeling is, if you tend to operate from that place and think about that feeling and the essence of it, you're telling your unconscious mind that this is what I'm now deciding, because now there's no scarcity, because you can access by that state by just doing it in a different form. Not the outcome, but a different form. A different action. For example, if it were to be, well, that thing will give me gratitude. Well, what can I be grateful for which is not that outcome? It could be that I've got clothes, I've got a roof over my head, I've got equipment that I'm using right now, I got friends, I can be grateful for many things which is beyond the thing that I want. If it was a sense of peace, well, what can I do to feel more peace in my life? If I do more of those actions, it means I have to be more aligned with that outcome. And also I'm not fixated on it through the scarcity. You're like, whatever happens, I'm just going to feel this good anyway. It just feels good to feel this feeling. But by feeling that feeling, you are aligned with that outcome at an unconscious level. One of the big questions or the big things which really get in the way of people of manifesting, whether it be biology, whether it be out there stuff, is the lack of action. Like we hear about the law of attraction, but where's the law of action? where we have to do things. We can have all those good feelings, and I've said to do that, so I'm not even negating it, but it has to be coupled up with action. What are you doing beyond just the thinking and the feeling? Your outcome has energy to it. Whatever it is, it has a level of energy. Are you matching that energy? Are you becoming the person that you need to be that has that outcome? Think about that. Think about the person you need to be. Think about the person who has that thing that you want. Are you matching the same kind of behaviors of that person who's achieved it, or you who will achieve it? Are you taking massive and inspired action? Are you doing the work? And if you're not, let's start to do the work. Like, I love working. It's got such a bad connotation. I've got to go to work, I've got to work out, all these things. No, I love working. I love working toward my dreams, even if it creates effort, whether it means that I have to sleep a little bit less, whether it means that I have to sacrifice something. I'm just happy doing the work, even if it means me so-called losing money because I'm investing into a shortcut to get me to where I want to be. I'm loving spending money because I know it's furthering me. It's not a cost in that case, but even if it's the time-based level, are we doing the work to be able to be in the energetic match of that thing? And maybe ask yourself this question, just to kind of confirm. If you think of doing something that you tend to do, are you willing to give it up for a period of time to do the work? And that will give you some resistance. Well, I don't want to give up my hobby for the time being to get to where I want to be. But are you willing to? Are you willing to spend that time in getting what you want to then do that thing in the future? Like, it's not like you're giving up forever, but you're almost telling yourself, I'm willing to make a sacrifice to get and be the person I want to be. Wherever it means, like, for example, if you're in a relationship, and there's where communication is absolute key. You're in a relationship, you want to be able to earn X amount of thousands of dollars every single month, whether it be 5K, 10K, 30K, 50K, 100K. Well, the chances are you're going to have to spend more time on your business. The chances are. But of course, you've got this relationship here. Well, maybe you've got to sacrifice some of that time with your partner to be able to make this a reality. So you have an honest conversation with them. Say, look, I really appreciate our time. That's so important to me. We lift each other up. We're a team here. But there may be the next couple of months where I'm going to have to do a little bit less time when it comes to the relationship. And here's why. Because it's going to get us this. And I want you to be on that journey with me, where it be the financial abundance, the business, the impact, whatever it is. You want to have that person in alignment, but you've got to be at peace that you're going to sacrifice a little bit of that time for a short period in order to get to what you want. And we can break that down. We said this a while ago, like quitting the Netflix for a certain time, quitting the Amazon Prime TV stuff or HBO, all the things we got, right? Maybe we've got to do less of that and more of what we've got to do to really do what has to be done. So ask yourself that question, and if you get resistance, like, am I willing to sacrifice this? And then maybe you don't want that enough, or you haven't been able to navigate and manage how you can decrease stuff over here to increase more output over there. But with the great, wonderful thoughts, whatever happens, you have to take action. You've got to get up and do the work. If you want to get a good body, you're going to have to eat better. It's just the simple fact. If you want to get a better body, you're probably going to have to move more. Like, there are actions that you've got to do. If you want to make more money, the chances are you need to educate yourself in order how to make money. Be with someone who's going to serve you there. Or if it's to let go of a belief, like find someone like me who can get you there. There's sacrifices there, the monetary trade maybe, but think about what it will give you and be at peace with that. And then as you go along with this, it's your job to look for these subtle confirmations. that go, yeah, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm feeling these feelings and I'm feeling better. Every time you have that confirmation on the inside at a conscious level, so in other words, you're not dismissing it, you're consciously looking out, you're telling your unconscious mind, yeah, we're still on track. This is why we're doing what we're doing. Those little confirmations of your wins, your successes, or the feelings that you're having is just keeping it in the forefront of your mind to be able to keep on going. And that just means you can be totally aligned in whatever it is. Now, of course, on top of that, as always, you got to make sure you let go of any limiting belief that is getting in the way of that goal and outcome. You can want something with all your heart and feelings, but if you don't believe you're worthy of it, then you've got to do whatever it takes to let go of that belief. If you don't believe you're good enough, you've got to do whatever it takes to let go of that belief. Because that belief creates your world. It'll be the defining part of the process. Because you can will it, you can want it, you can radiate it, but if on the inside your unconscious mind's saying, I'm not worthy of this, I'm not enough for this, I'm not of value, I'm not capable, you're telling you're unconsciously putting out there, how am I worthy of this outcome? I'm not worthy of that abundance. I'm not worthy of that relationship. It is something that you've got to let go of. It is the one thing that I solely work on, like with my program, is to let go of the core belief, the unconscious hidden belief that once let go of will allow you to go, do you know what? I am worthy of this relationship. I am enough. I am worthy of abundance and making an impact. I'm worthy of getting that promotion. I'm deserving. Like, it's a totally different energy. So you can want something, but if you negate it with a limiting belief, because it's your identity, then you're never going to get that. Or if you do get there, it's going to either take a long time or it may just randomly happen. But the chances are, if you don't believe you're worthy, deserving, or enough, you're not going to see the opportunity. You're not going to go for what you want because of the fear that it creates, fear of failure, fear of rejection. It's just going to hold you where you are. And then the more that we don't get it, the more it reaffirms that limiting belief. Well, I did all those things, but I didn't get the outcomes. That must mean I'm not worthy. It's a feedback loop. But when you come from a place of I'm worthy and deserving, that's the new feedback loop. That gives you more belief and confidence and happiness and security, radiating whatever you desire, knowing whatever you desire desires you too. You're thinking and being and knowing that you're worthy of this. Not to just think it, but to know it to the deepest part of you. So that is one of the core foundations that you have to have as in the recipe, including, of course, being aware of the potential downsides, being at peace with them, coming up with strategies to deal with them, to be able to get into the doing side of things, to be able to look for those confirmations. You've got to really work on that limiting belief, because if you don't, we remain stuck. Now, you can do the work on that yourself, of course, and like all these things you got to do technically, right, if we break it down, and especially use the hypnosis session, which will be out on the next episode, and then the bonus one for those who are members of the app. You'll get a sleep version to just to deepen it that bit more. But whatever happens, figure out what that root cause is. It's hidden because it's unconscious, and then do whatever it takes to let it go. Now, of course, if you just want the quick route of letting it go in a short period of time, you can go ahead and apply to work with us at josephclough.info/talk. You'll fill out an application form, you'll book a call, and it'll be a one-to-one call with us ultimately to get clear on exactly what you want to let go of, get clear on exactly what you do want, figure out what's getting in the way, and we'll come up with a plan and strategy. If you're a good fit, there is an investment to this. Look, there's fully customized. You get to work with us. And I say us because we've got a team to support you. We've got a group to plug you into. We've got this whole lifting up system, which just causes you to systematically let go of that core issue. That is what we do day in, day out. That's what we love doing. And once we do that, life will never be the same again, because you'll be worthy, deserving, and enough. to have all that you desire. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We are going to be doing the hypnosis one on the next one, and then a bonus one, as I said, the sleep one. But in the meantime, I look forward to speaking to you on a future one. Many thanks and goodbye.